Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hot Takes League of Legends edition. I'm with my two buddies as usual. We're only a few minutes late this time. Ethan's alarm did go off, so that's good. Good to know that it does work. But here we are, and it's the first stand episode. We're as we're recording, we're about a week away, and there's a lot to get into. But what you guys, before we get into our rankings or anything, what are you most excited for at first stand?
I'd say comparing the level of the regions right now, especially because we're on a new patch. I think it's been a while since um, lane swaps have been in the game, and right now they are not, or like not that much anymore. And that means we got to see like the power of laning, of all teams, of the best teams in the world, of LPL against LCK. And I guess that's an interesting, like a measure to just know where we stand in the overall power ranking in the world. So yeah, I'm just excited to see that balance of power between the teams with the new meta, I guess.
How are you, Davide?
For me, it's just BLG. Actually, like I want to see if BLG has uh I guess, to kind of go against Gen.G, because it looks like it could be another like Korean destroys everyone thingy like tournament. I definitely think like BLG would probably be closer to BFX, which we'll probably talk a little bit into later. But at the same time, I feel like that's the main thing I'm looking at. I want to just know whether like China actually has a way to fight against Korea this time around.
And we're gonna talk about it later, but like I think our two takes just join, because I think when it comes to laning, BLG has a strong argument. But yeah.
Yeah.
Davide, what was the last event that you didn't go to in person? I swear you're usually at like every single one, but you're gonna be at home.
I actually missed MSI.
Oh yeah,
Missed MSI
yeah,
last
Canada,
year
yeah.
because it was in Canada, and back then it was Nick who went there. But then I did Worlds 20 last
EWC,
year. First
EWC,
at EWC, first and start of year. Did
Did
Worlds,
Worlds
then
before.
the war before, and then it was MSI before that. And I think the one before that I missed was Worlds 2023. I think. But then I did MSI 2023 back then. So it's been a good streak, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to your travels to Saudi
I
this
mean,
summer, maybe.
unfortunately, no Brazil this time around. It was very sad, but I guess it's you know the venue is too small. They don't
yeah,
feed us.
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't feed
They
us.
they they they, they barely feel the whole like Brazil fans and stuff.
That
So
was so
how
funny
can they feel the
that
press,
tweet
right?
from Arnold from Gen.G saying that he had more people at his wedding than there's gonna be in the first
Yeah.
stand audience. That is kind of crazy. Maybe before we get in the rankings, we can talk about that because I saw I don't know who the guy was. There was like a statement from Riot or like a tweet explaining why they did it there, and some of it was like kind of bollocks. Really, they were talking about like, oh yeah, it lets us be more flexible and like I don't
Yeah,
remember
but
if he
I
I
said
think I
really
think
I don't remember
that's
if he said
not
take
that.
risks. Like, oh, no, experiment. I think he said it's like it lets us experiment more. I'm thinking experiment with what? You've been running tournaments for 16 years, mate. Like, it's not your first it's not your first event.
No, for sure, but I think what they mean is that you know they will sometimes we will have days where it's like 2 or 3 BO5s the same day,
Right.
and that's not something we usually see in any stadium arena whatever. You come to see one BO5 like maximum, and there I guess because maybe sometimes some match days will be like can be actually 7 hours. I guess it's not something you can book you can book an entire arena on. So, and also because obviously since it's two BA5 that like goes the same day, you will have maybe one that will go 3-0 and the other 3-0, and then you're like in for like what 5-6 hours and you're fine. But if both do 3-2,
10 matches.
you are fucked, you know. So yeah, I guess that's the reason. But anyway, I think like not many would have mind if they would have done a tournament, you know, that is like 4 days longer, and we have a good arena at least for the playoff, you know, at least for finals and stuff. That's the main issue I see. Like the fact that the first stages are in the Riot Arena, I don't mind as long as the most important matches are in a good arena that can fill a lot of people, especially knowing how Brazilians are passionate about League of Legends.
That's one thing I
Yeah,
think
that's the
I think for the sake of Brazilian fans, they might get away with it in the sense of like when it's first announced and you know the tweets were doing the rounds about the size, and it's like a bit, you know, everyone's like complaining and that. I think because Brazilian fans are gonna be so loud and like so passionate, people are gonna come away and say like, oh well, you know, it was okay, there was still good atmosphere, and I think they'll kind of like Riot will get away with it in that sense. Like by the end of the tournament, I don't think anyone would be complaining about it, even if it is still a bit shit. Like even just the grand final, if they wouldn't even need. I don't know. They wouldn't have to be a massive arena. Like I don't know if they could fill a massive arena for first stand yet. So if they did it in just 1 or 2,000, like a small theater or something, is not crazy. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like
for me,
owed that.
For me, the saddest part for Brazilian fans is that it's been 10 years they've been waiting for an international tournament to come back on their home soil, and now they have only like what 1,000 seats available. You know, if you take the whole week, and that's the saddest part. Also because they're like Riot has this roadmap when it comes to international events, and it doesn't stop at Brazil usually, right? Like there's NA, China, EU, and Korea. That's the basic roadmap. So I guess the next time we will see Brazil might be in a long time, you know, and that's the main problem for me.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, the I agree with Ethan. Like I think that the biggest downside is just the fact that they try to make it into a 1 week tournament again, and the fact that they have such a short schedule means that they can't really, logistically speaking, make it work. Honestly, I think like even if you think about it, like people were saying, like the last time, like the biggest event was in Brazil was MSI 2017, and back then, if I remember correctly,
2016, yeah.
MSI 2017.
Oh no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. You're right.
I think it's like they did the playing stage or whatever, the first part of the stage in the Riot game studio in São Paulo, and then they moved to Rio for the venue, and that venue had like 15,000 people. So it's like I don't think it's like Riot doesn't have the venue space or like the context to make it work. It's just that I think it's from a schedule perspective, and considering the fact that I still don't think like first stand is being sold enough, like as a relevant tournament from my personal perspective. I just think that it's like, yes, it's an important tournament. It gives you like first regional competition, but like I kind of would like it to kind of make it into like a Valorant Masters level
Yeah,
thingy.
because it doesn't.
So like would be kind of
doesn't feel like
MSI.
it feels like a. It almost feels like an off-season thing, like with the
Yeah,
formatting and how
exactly.
small
I
it
mean,
is.
like, yeah, exactly. Like the thing is, like for me, it's like we talked about last week. No, there isn't like much at stake aside from the additional slot that technically MSI regions get. I think for
Yeah,
the region gets for
it's
MSI.
not even like the slots you get. It's like about seedings, I guess.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
like
not even.
yeah, the better seating, which I don't think is technically relevant, or like it's not as important. But the
Yeah.
fact that if you at least can make it into like an MSI 2.0 or actually 1.0, and then MSI actually MSI 2.0, or like a Valorant Masters, I think it would be more relevant, and people will actually treat it as a more important tournament. And if it's a little bit longer, it should benefit everyone, because you can have the group stage in a smaller arena, and then as soon as you get fewer teams, so like playoffs teams, which in this case are 4, it should also be easier for you to logistically make them work and like move around and operate them. So I don't see that as an issue, unless like Riot strictly said that, oh, we cannot fit like the tournament in more than 7 days, because then we would have like teams basically are immediately going back to the regions for spring splits, and so like
Six
that
days
was,
later for LEC, for example.
yeah, for example, yeah, the LEC starts in like on 28th, which is kind of crazy to me, because I don't think it's basically the inverse of what the LPL did last year with South Korea, when they had to like they finished the playoffs on the like 3rd, and they had to play on like 5 days later, 6 days later. But like with moving from China to Korea, media days and back in between, it's like they had basically no time to prepare, and then it obviously showed at the tournament. Um, I don't even think like teams will get that much preparation, you know. Like even if you think about it, BLG and JDG got kind of the L again, because they literally played the 2 days ago. They're probably flying to Brazil right now, which takes them like 30 plus hours or whatever. I'm not really sure how much that would take from China, but I know it takes a shitload of time. Deal with you, time zone diff, which is incredible there, and then also have like all the other like commercial whatever media stuff to do.
And I feel like
So
I
you
feel like Riot doesn't really know what to do with the event right now, and that's the issue. Like, because as Davide said, like MSI qualify you to Worlds, you know. Why is first and only about seeding? You know, why can first and qualify you to MSI? You know, uh, I mean that's not the if that will be at stake. I guess people will take it more seriously, you know, because then you have a clear roadmap to Worlds. You know, you win first end, you can go to MSI. Then if you win MSI, you go to Worlds. You know, that's just the like the easy way to put it. You know, and to actually define interesting stakes for the teams. You know, and yeah, I guess that's the main issue right now. Both the scheduling of it, the fact that it's only a week, and the fact that it's a very short tournament, but that there are many games in such a short time. And the other issue is what's at stake actually, and it's just seeding, which doesn't really mean anything.
I think one thing as well that's maybe like a middle ground they could do is similar to what they do with Masters. So in Valorant, so at the moment Masters Santiago is going on, and that's not it's not in a studio, so it is in a like an arena, but it's not. Firstly, it's not a massive venue that they're doing. There's no moving around places. Like everything's in one spot. There's no like awkward logistics in that sense. But what they basically do there, and I think they did it for Masters Toronto last year as well, is it's not in like a theater or something. It's basically in like an exhibition center, and they just set up. Their stage is not very big. It's just like a bit of scaffolding with some PCs on it, and then they just have seats. Like it's not again, it's like an exhibition place, not a theater. So it's not like they basically just. I don't know what they look like, but it's as though they've put loads of lines of plastic chairs in a circle
yeah.
around this small thing in the center, and it's a big exhibition center. It's not like some crazy setup, and then they just have like little booths and things around, and they basically got the whole event is in this in one big hall. And I know obviously it still would be more logistics for them to do than doing it in their own arena, and it would be more expensive. But I imagine it's a damn sight easier and cheaper than doing a big like theater finals or something. So that's maybe a middle ground. It seems like they've sort of nailed that like that way of doing it for Valorant, because they've done it for a few events now, and it seems to work. And it's not massive either. Like when you see on that stream, they do some wide shots, and it's not thousands and thousands of people. It's maybe like 2,000-3,000. But even just having them, because it's all like they custom built the whole thing. It's just a really small stage that the players are on, and then the fans are right packed next to them. So because the fans are really close and it's like it gets like a good atmosphere and stuff from that, and that's what carries over on the stream anyway, rather than just like how big it is and how many people you can see in the background. So maybe that's something they can think of. But it's just weird. Yeah, it's a bit weird that this is the argument for the second year of First Stand. I could get this happening last year and say, right, it's our first tournament. We want to see how it's going. We want to see how people respond to it. But for it to be like still in the experimental phase in the second year is a bit strange because they're not changing that much. The only thing they've really changed is adding like 2 more teams. So yeah, weird one. Shall we do some power rankings then? And have a look at who's actually there. So we're gonna do a few things. We're gonna just rank the teams top to bottom, which I reckon is gonna be quite easy. I don't think we'll probably disagree too much, but let's see. We'll do power rankings on the teams. We'll pick out our best players in each position, and then we'll just do some random predictions as well. Shall we start on the teams? Shall we start with number 8? And is it as easy as I'm expecting? Is it not just loud, number 8?
Do we actually think so?
I'm not sure actually. When I
I'm
look at
actually
what
not
Furia,
sure.
when I look at what Furia did to the America's Cup, you know,
Yeah.
and then knowing their C2, I'm
And
really not sure.
knowing that Loud actually destroyed the other ones, because like
Yeah.
they actually destroyed Red Cannons as well in the playoffs. I'm actually not really sure.
Who do you think? Who would be with them down the
Secret
bottom?
Whales maybe, but I'm not sure.
I'm not actually even sure it's Wills. Like, to be honest, if just judging from so let me put it out there. So I think that Furia winning is great, but I don't think NA's level was shown at the America's Cup for various reasons. Well, I think at least Cloud9 definitely mental boomed, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think like it's that representative of NA's level as a whole. I definitely think it's much closer than I thought it would be coming into the tournament.
I mean, it was not even close. That's the
no,
issue.
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, that's what I meant. So the thing for me is like, I think still the bottom would be between TSW and so Team Secret Whales and Loud, but I'm also debating whether G2 and LYON would fall closer to that tier. That's my question. Like
I think LYON might, but I don't think for G2. And I'm not being biased here.
At least on
like,
form for G2 as well. They look so good by the end.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple of reasons why I think G2 could struggle, but we can dive into that later. But yeah, so I think for me it will be between Loud and Team Secret Whales. I honestly would have put Loud way lower. Like at least like probably I would have put TSW closer to the Western teams. Based on what happened in America's Cup, I think it would be just like tied. I would tie them for 7th.
We could do a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think that's the fairest, yeah.
Plug those in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also because I think we didn't watch that much of those two teams, so
yeah.
I mean, for me, Wales, I probably I watched a little bit. It just gave me the impression that they kind of try to maintain always what they go for, and I think the meta has been like the fact that it's very lane focused and very like it rewards teams to be more aggressive early on. Makes me think that it could benefit them, you know. But the thing is, like, I think partially I think due to the competition kind of being weaker this year in the LCP in general.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's my like kind of question mark. But I think that the fact that the guys who made it to Worlds last year, and I know like TSW made some roster changes, but still like the fact that these guys have the capability of making it back to back is, I think, a good enough reason for me to believe that they'll definitely do well.
Fair. So I think the next two are going to be obvious who they are, but what way around do we put them? I feel like I don't know. I don't think you put LYON in the same field as G2 right now, do you?
I don't, but again, I haven't watched that much of LYON, if I have to be very honest. I have watched only like playoff and finals, and like it's more from what I heard than what I saw that I will judge them, to be honest. But like we have a guy that is like the specialist, you know, of LCS in France, and we did a show with him where we asked him a lot about LCS, and he told us that it was the first time in years that he will put the seed one from LCS behind the seed one from from LC. So I think that says a lot, you know. I just think this team is not quite ready yet. And knowing that G2, you know, are keeping the same roster from last year, that they seem to improve all over the year, that they looked again not really matched in playoff in LC. All of these reasons make me actually believe that they can do something in such a short tournament. Like obviously, in just a tournament of a week in the same patch, it will probably be who breaks the meta the better, you know. And I think G2 have a clear edge on in that regard as well, because I think they are a team that, you know, struggled to find solutions. For example, last year, but I think this year it's at least what we saw in playoff. They look like they know the solutions, you know, to the meta picks right now. It looks like BB has some counter picks in mind. It looks like everyone knows his role. That the mid jungle is working very well. That bot lane, you know, they're probably not the best, but they are not playing like they're the best. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like they can assume that role of not playing that much on the edge or not playing that much the push and stuff. You know, maybe they're gonna get punished by the best team because of that, but at least against KC and against MCOY and all those teams, they just look like they could tank it. You know, so yeah, I would say right now LYON should be behind for me.
I mean, I agree. The one thing for me, I'm trying to kind of think it through as the meta has been so far. I don't think like the meta will change much from 16.4 to 16.5 at the current moment. So it will ultimately for me come down to how Lions plays and how Inspired they technically will lead his team, direct his team, the way I see it. I think definitely G2 in most cases will. I would assume it to be better, but at the same time, I feel like I even see a team like TSW making G2 if they play each other like a tough matchup
Making them sweat.
for various reasons. I think like if we play out the same game multiple times, or like if you let them play against each other for like 10 times, like G2 will probably win 7, at least 7 out of them, or maybe even more than that. But I don't think in those 7 wins we will get bombs by G2 on those 7 games, is what I mean. So I think it will actually be a little bit closer for me. Just because I think that Inspired alone, like just Inspired alone, can kind of elevate the team to a certain level that I would assume that if played consistent can lead to results. At the same time, it's also G2's, like I have no question and no doubt that G2's jungle mid will do well. But my question will be around the bot lane, because we've talked about how bot lane has been very important in the meta, but not vital to the meta. But there are certain teams who are willing to do that. We will talk about BFX for example later on. And so if the bot lane becomes an attack point, or like basically your like weakness where you can be attacked, it could play out really badly for G2. That's my biggest question. Like that's my biggest concern and doubt that I had. It's just
But
that
I think
I don't have much
LYON has
confidence.
LYON has the same issue as well. That's why I don't
Yeah,
think
no, I definitely
Faceless
see what you're.
and
I
Berserker.
definitely see what you're coming from, but I don't know. Like I feel like maybe Lion wasn't punished enough in the LCS, because I don't think based on the games I've watched, I don't think they struggled as much. It was like they probably struggled a little bit more laning wise, but I feel like Berserker is really good at playing team fights, and Hansama for me, for example, didn't like I think actually it's like kind of the inverse. Like Hansama actually did the laning phase most of the times really well, or like handled it super well, but then messed up during key team fights. And I feel like whenever you go against international teams, for me, what counts is the team fight execution more than the laning phase, because I think you can make up for a lot of the individual skill that you don't have through team play. JDG, for example, is a clear example in the LPL, um, uh, compared to like BLG, of course. Um, so that's kind of like my worries, But in most cases, I still think like G2 would be better. So I think it would be 6 Lion and 5th G2.
Plug him in.
But we'll be hyped actually. If you talk about storyline, like Inspired and Scumond is becoming a real rivalry right now. Like the fact that they face each other at MSI, Scumond got stomped. Then they faced against each other at Worlds, and actually G2 came out on top. And the fact that now we know as well that Inspired approached G2 to actually maybe join them during the off season, and they refused. There's all that narrative that can be highlighted, and I think it's very funny.
The good job the format
Because I
and
think
the draw means they're
that's
probably
the
not going to
two.
play each other.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But that's actually like, and that's sad actually. But that's the two teams, that um yeah, they have the two best jungler in the West right now, and since
Yeah,
last year it's
definitely.
been the case. So
Right.
I mean,
So,
like,
yeah.
actually, it's so good that EU gets so many good junglers. It's like I don't even think like Elioya and Yarka are that far from these two
Yeah,
guys.
sure.
So it's like we probably have it good for a couple of more years, especially with Kumon, considering he's like the youngest of the four.
Now it gets maybe trickier. So
Yeah.
what's left is the LCK and the LPL teams. It's funny how that, like, because of the format, that the second seeds from LCK and LPL are like in the third pool, so technically they're meant to be the weakest teams in the tournament. Really not the case, but I think we're still like, the whole thing is in groups of 2, right? So we've done 7 and 8 were tied or close. 5 and 6 are close. I feel like 3 and 4 are close, and then 1 and 2 are close.
But you know
Agree,
what? I
disagree?
think G2, like, I think the fourth place for me is JGG. Like, it's quite clear. And
Oh, really?
yeah.
Ooh, actually,
And
okay. Then we have a debate here.
okay. But I think that G2 can take JGG. Like, if there's a team they can take, it's JGG in this
I actually think
in
G2
the
can
Asian
take
teams.
both BFX and JDG.
I think you're underestimating BFX
I
because
mean,
of the
I
fact
did.
they're
I
quite
mean, I must
unnamed.
say, I did that at the start of the year. If we go back and look at the power
Yeah.
rankings that we started the year, I must apologize for that. I definitely did not see that coming. I don't think it's more me underestimating BFX. It's more the fact that I think that BFX strengths are good enough to get them where they are, but I think that there are a couple of things that I don't know, the way I think it's like, I think BFX way of playing is a little bit one-dimensional, or it looks one-dimensional to me compared to both JDG and G2 in terms of how they can draft and play, and I think that could potentially in BO5s make a big difference.
I think JGG are very one-dimensional as well, no? Like, to me, they are very one-dimensional.
No,
They will
actually,
draft
no.
to have.
I actually don't think so. Let me explain to you. Like, let me
Yeah, go
explain
ahead.
why. It's because I actually been watching a lot of LPL playoffs lately, and aside from whatever happened in the playoffs thingy that I don't know if we want to talk about later, but JDG has been like, it's very like Tabe focused, and I think that like it reminds me of AL basically, and
Yeah, same.
I think it's very like it's very clear that it sees that there's like the Tabe presence of it in its coaching and identity. The one thing that I've seen is that JDG has a very comfortable way of playing certain types of comms, but they also have a couple of players who are who have the confidence, are willingly able to like adjust themselves, adjust their champion pool on it. The main focus for me would be top lane Xiaoshu, because he is the only. I think we got to the point where we can argue that he's the second best top laner, Chinese top laner, like Chinese top laner. So we don't include in Korean ones, in the
But
league.
Bin smashed him 2 times.
Yeah, I mean, Bin smashed him, but like, if you then look back, like, Xiaoxi smashed everyone else.
Yeah, no, I
So,
agree.
like, including Flandre, or like including like other top laners that you would consider so. And so it's like his laning phase is actually he's willingly like he's still willing to play carry matchups. Even though he kind of wasn't really able to match Bin. And I think that at least having that draft flexibility, I guess, versatility, makes JDG potentially better, because then they also have Gala and Vampire, who are kind of also in the same like category of players. So it's like really good players that can kind of play a little bit of everything, but at the same time they're not really the best.
Gala at internationals, man. Gala when the stakes rises.
I mean, I
think
don't
we
know.
need
Like,
to start a
I
discussion
trust.
about it.
I'll trust. I mean, like, I didn't trust Junja at the start of the season, and look what Tabe did to him.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's like Honkyu is actually like, I think Honkyu is the only one who you can consider that he can actually match
Nice.
the top mid laners in terms of individual skills.
Yeah.
And it's clear that like Tabe is like the one thing I think Tabe is the best at is understanding how the players are performing and extracting the max out of them based on any condition that they're given. So what happens is, like, if for example someone is struggling, he'll find ways to make his team work at a decent floor regardless of how that player shows up. So he'll try to make up for it through draft, he'll try to make for it through game plans. Like, maybe he'll just go and tell Junja to like go and play for the bot lane instead of the top lane because the matchup it doesn't work out as well. And I think that is what allowed them to actually get close to BLG, sorry. Because I don't think actually like it should never be that close. At least they played 2 series.
Yeah,
the first one they went to 5.
close.
They went to 5 games. The 5th game was actually like quite dragged out as well. And we actually like we're super familiar with Tabe game fights. They're not usually the greatest, which is also why I think like BO5s can be a good thing or a bad thing for JDG, in the sense that I think they're super strong in the first 2 or 3 games where they get to prep a lot. But once the options are limited, or once the drafts are being pushed, there's a lot more volatility in JDG's gameplay compared to others, because they have to rely a lot more on team play, and that's something that you get from playing the scenarios, like the matchups, the comps various times, and you usually don't force teams to play 5 games, or like you don't have like set game plans or set drafts in game 5. It's usually very adaptation based.
And I think,
So I think
Firex might have the same issue actually.
Yeah, that's why I think JDG and BFX for me are in the same tier, because I think both of these teams have the same issue, where like Gen.G smashed BFX because they're technically just the better version of BFX in whatever they do. Like, if BFX best game plan is to play through bot lane, Gen.G can match that, but then once you move away from this thing, Gen.G is better at doing everything else.
Yeah,
so it explains why the 3-0, it explains why like BFX has never actually looked anywhere
but
close to beating beating Gen.G, you know.
But when I look at JGG and BFX, I feel like the floor of BFX right now is higher than the floor of JGG. Like when I look at because I think they will be more consistent than JGG. That's what I feel like. For example, JGG, Gala is gonna have off games for no reason. He's gonna have off games where it's gonna be
I
useless.
mean, he had
where
one in finals.
yeah, where he's
That
just gonna
Yunara
die.
play was very crazy, I must say.
and I must say, like Diable, obviously, when he plays against the best team like Gen.G, for sure, he can have off games as well, But most of the time, he will win lane. Most of the time, him and Kellen will win lane. Most of the time, he will do his job in team fight. He will play on GH and it will work, And I think JDG is not that great of a team for BFX to actually be on the side of, Diable will underperform, I think Gala, for example, has a very high chance of underperforming against Diable than like a much higher chance than the opposite, And when you look at it, like Junja and Onkyu are looking very good. I think it's the main strengths of JDG right now, for sure, because they are the most reliable, at least in playoff, they were the most reliable, in my opinion, with Vampire as well. That is very, very good. But, Kellin on range supports is probably one of the best in the world right now, if not the best, And while the mid jungle, like Raptor was for sure the second best. No, like looking at how he smashed Lucid, that just smashed Owner right before. You have to just praise this guy and realize that he's one of the best right now. I think his development has been insane, especially in playoff. He has been insane. But I would say though that I have more faith on Onkyu than on Vikla, because I think Vikla is a bit of can be the Gala of BFX. He can be the guy that he has his off games, even though he's looking very good and reliable overall. Like across the board, I think he improved a lot compared to last year. Like I even didn't imagine it was possible, honestly. But I still think like Onkyu is just more talented. That's it. He's just more talented individually. He can do more with less. He's just too good. In team fights, like for example, Vikla, if he's behind, he will have a hard time finding solutions. I think when Onkyu is behind, even a bit, he will find solutions. He will find ways to win team fights and stuff. Probably that's the Tabe effect again that we were still talking about before, but yeah. And I just think Clear is very good at weak siding, while Xiaoshu is, Xiaoshu is actually the second best. I do agree with you in GLPL in top lane, but I think against someone that is very good at weak siding, I'm not sure Xiaoshu would smash him. I think for sure he will get ahead, but Clear has been kind of it's not a problem for him to be down as long as his bot lane carries him, and actually as long as he can play a champ that still have an impact in the game. I just think looking at those two teams, that there's a team that is more well-rounded and also that has found his identity a bit more than JDG right now. And that's the reason why they were like the undisputed top 2. They just smashed D+, which was top 3. And of course, there's a chair between them and Gen.G still, but yet I just don't think against LPL there's a chair as well, because I do think that Gen.G is a chair above any team in the LPL. Maybe we can discuss with BLG, but yeah.
We're doing
I just think also LCK is just a better league, So that's also why I think top 2 from LCK is most of the time better than the top 2 in LPL. And right now, I think JGG has the potential to be better, right? But right now, knowing that BFX has been again, there's still that same argument that we had for G2 and LYON. They are together since a year, and that's a huge difference, While JGG, they are starting to build something. I think they can be very good, but right now it's a bit too soon for me.
I will be called BFX hater by the end of the year, by the way. At this point, it's not like I don't believe in the team. I actually love them. It's just that I actually want to lower the expectations because the higher you go,
I
the
agree,
higher
I
you
agree.
fall, and I
But
think also
how
like
can anyone hate this team actually? Like this team is.
no, like the one thing for me, it's like actually like for me personally, speaking, is based on the roster they've built. I want to have higher expectations for the JDG. Like I even think that BFX being fourth for me is fine. Like I can accept that as being like a still good result for the team because it's first international. This
Yeah.
guy's like aside from Kellen, I think, and maybe I'm trying to remember if Vikla Raptor played
No, never. Never.
internationals. I think it's like yeah. So Kelly is the only guy,
Yeah.
and
Did Kelly play any actually? Yeah, with the yes, with Balrog, yeah, for sure.
yeah, with DK, yeah, DK for Worlds 2020 something, 2, 3, I don't forgot, well maybe 4 actually. I'm blanking, but like I think it's like for me for based on the roster they put together, based on the fact that they have Tabe alone, I don't think fourth for JDG would be a good result. You know what I mean. So and
you think it wouldn't be a good result?
No, I don't think. Like JDG's roster for me is like it must be top 2 at LPL, but it also has to be like it must go against the top Korean teams and they must beat them. Like I am expecting BLG to fight Gen.G, but I think JDG must beat BFX to consider it a good result because then it shows that the entire LPL region as a whole is competitive, and it actually it's like based on current stance, I need that competition because I feel like we've been having so many years of Korean dominance that it's getting a little bit boring to me.
Yeah,
I must
I
say.
agree.
And I kind of want to break that. And if it's not LEC or LCS doing it for us, I at least want LPL to do it for us.
Do you know how the knockouts are drawn? Like, will it be Group A against Group B or what?
It's already decided.
Well, the groups
I think
are decided, but then
I think
Oh,
two
you mean
teams,
for playoff?
yeah.
Okay.
I would assume it's the first like the Group A.
Yeah,
Group
the
A
Group A
with like
first against the
Group
Group
A
B
first
second.
place. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So it's first team going against the second team. I think that's the way it should be. If it's not that way, it's very rigged.
and that would mean that logically we should have BLG and against Gen.G in grand final, which would be the best possible, I think.
Yeah. That means that like
I mean, if JGG doesn't beat them or BFX doesn't beat them in the process.
Yeah.
Very little hope,
not gonna lie.
So I feel like the top 2 is pretty obvious then, which way around it is, right?
Yeah. I mean,
but
there's
actually,
no way around. Like if you put BLG over Gen.G, you're kind of smoking it, I guess.
Yeah. But actually, I would say, and that's also the reason I think when we look at those groups, we have BLG against Fearx and Gen.G against JGG. I think JGG have no chance to win against Gen.G, like legit no chance. Well, I think Fearx has a chance against BLG,
Yeah, I think it's interesting. That's the first game as well. BLG BFX.
You think
straight away that's
think
gonna.
Fearx has zero chance?
No. I mean, like zero chance. I don't think. Let me put it out there. I think there's never a zero chance match. I think
to me, Gen.G against JGG is a zero chance match. I'm gonna be honest.
Nah. I still don't think it's a 0% match. Zero chance match. I think for me, the like BLG and BFX is aside from the game score, just how much of a gap there is between the two teams. So like if it's like 3 stomps, like three game stomp, I would probably be more confident to see than BLG going against Gen.G if the both of them were to advance. If I see BLG struggling even the slightest of things, like I'm not seeing what I want to see from them, because there is no question that BLG's laning phase is good. I think the biggest question for me will be whether BLG can maintain their composure that they had throughout playoffs in most of the series, not all of them, when it comes to like playing the map, because it's always been like the BLG's thing to kind of like force you into situations where you have to play with hands, or like they force you to basically they challenge you on mechanical execution on things that they should, like most LCK teams would avoid. Like the LCK teams still trying to play through that formula kind of play style.
Yeah, playing together
BLG will try to
around
challenge you on
objectives.
that. BLG doesn't do that. They just think, oh, we have the chance, even if it's like a losing matchup for them. They'll force you into a mistake by doing that repeated times, where you'll eventually will fuck up, or like you will mess up, to because of you're not used to seeing those patterns, or like those plays played out. Like BLG does that. I think it's the BLG style of playing, and I think what like Viper's addition to the team kind of made sure that they always have someone who can kind of adjust to anything that happens on the map or any draft. Like they have like a jack of all trades kind of player who is like super all rounded, does everything super good. He might not be the greatest in a single thing. Like for example, I think
it's just more reliable.
I think like Diabol's team fighting carry potential is higher than Viper's. I think, or like right now. But I think that like Viper is so much, like not so much better, but it's like better on everything else. That for me, Viper is still the better player. And so like it gives them that kind of insurance guaranteed card where they're like, okay, whatever happens, we still have him to kind of cover our asses. Which I don't think Elk used to be in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I think Elk, if you don't give Elk resources, then he will struggle find his place in the in the team.
Because he's also kind of like a playmaker. Like he wants to
play forward,
have those highlight reels and mega carry plays. So like if he doesn't have that, he's not given the resources, he doesn't really shine, or like he struggles. He will.
I mean, Viper is just more like way more mature in his gameplay. You know.
Yes, exactly.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. So for me, it's like it comes down to that, and I think it will, like, regardless of who they play against, even if it's like who are in the group again with G20 TSW. So even if they beat BFX, I need to see that same composure against weaker teams, because it shows me that the team has actually learned to play with composure. I think they showed a little bit of that during playoffs, but I don't think it's enough to go against Gen.G. So like, I think it's actually after playoffs, I think Gen.G BLG could be a little bit closer, but in those scenarios where things get a little bit flippy or a little bit more volatile, I think Gen.G will have a better, like more tools, or like just generally more patience to not mess up. While I think BLG will like push you a little bit too much, and eventually they'll push themselves over as well, leading to potentially mistakes from their side that can potentially like be game deciding, I guess. Game deciding things. So
I still think, you know, that, you know, given how On is let's say non-consistent in his level and in his play in general, I think, for example, Fearx could take advantage of that, you know, in a series where On is not playing at his best, just take over the bot lane and just win the game, you know. I also think, as you said, that even though I think Shun is an extremely like by far the best link this team can have between their lanes and between the mid lane and stuff, I still do think that Fearx is probably better at playing around their jungler right now than BLG. But as you said, I think the main advantage that BLG could take against them is just from pure laning, and especially inside lanes. I think they are just better across the board. So, and you know, when they take a small lead, they will just snowball it. That's the issue with these guys. While I don't think that Vikla, even though he's getting there. Like I think he's very good at playing with Raptor as well. But I don't think Vikla has been, the kind of player that you can say, okay, this guy when he has the lead, he snowballs it and he just like doesn't let you breathe and he will just solo win the game. I think he's not up to that level yet. Maybe he's close to that, but he's not to that level at all. And same for Bin, while Clear has been Wixside Kingdom anyway. So yeah, I think BLG is for sure like G favorite if there has to be like for this match, but I don't think it's hopeless for Furex. I think they have ways to win, and that they are like very easy to identify. But it will be hard for sure, and and BLG should come out on top in Gen. Well, I think the last one, we don't even need to really talk about it because I think if any team win against them, honestly, it would be, to me, a huge upset. Like a huge upset. Especially because we are not at Worlds yet. The team doesn't have this PTSD stuff where they just their hands fall apart or whatever.
Listen, they've never won first stand either. The pressure's on.
That's true, but they've won back-to-back MSI, so I think it says a lot. And also it's just a weak event, like teams won't have the time to break through Gen.G. Like I think the margin they have right now over the other teams is just way too high, way too big.
Let's do some player rankings, but to make it a bit interesting, rather than just doing like a top 10 or top 5 or something, let's do an all pro before the tournament. So who would our best 5 be? And we could do a couple of extras if it's difficult. But before the tournament, who do you think is the best?
I honestly
Gen.G,
think the top 5 is, honestly, yeah. Like maybe you can have an argument for the support role because I think Duro needs to adapt a bit to the like range supports. But yet I think even though even him, I think he said it in an interview that he had a rough time at the start to understand really the matchups and stuff. But right now he's finding his footing. I still think the range meta has break out like very late in the split in LCK. So maybe we haven't seen like really team prioritizing that much of range matchups in bot lane early, in the season. So I'm kind of wondering if he can keep up. If we start with 3 games to do on range matchups, if he can keep up the pace, as he had on, and how good he is on melee support. But overall, I would say, yeah, I think it's the Gen.G's 5, honestly. Like for me, the only argument you can have is for Kaelin in support. That's the only one.
Well, let's go one by one then.
No.
If we just go from the top down.
I think I actually have a debate here for top lane.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Top is straight away. Bin is not too shabby.
I actually think Bin is better than Keen. Like
wow.
that's no wait. Okay, we need to put it out there because I think it's kind of the way I see it is. Let me try to phrase this in a way that I don't get flamed. I think
Keen is the best player in the world right now.
Okay. Okay. That will be hard to discuss. That will be hard to fight. But the way I see it is like I think Keen is a more all-rounded player. I think being on current meta has more shining points that can allow him to shine more, and I think he had that throughout LPL playoffs. My question is, and then that's one thing I need to challenge on, is the competition that both of these players had. Because I think that's the debate of where I think who the kind of should be all pro. Because I think in terms of impact on both from like both players, I think we're probably on equal level. So how much impact does each of the players' performance bring to their team? I think it's very similar. For different reasons, of course. I think Keen brings that consistency, that floor, versatility, and just you know that whatever you'll give him, whatever matchup you'll give him, he'll be able to either manage that or come out on top. That's the two things I think. But however, like Bean has kind of more like a wider range of success. Like if you give him a really good matchup, he'll stomp and like get away with it. Like we saw against Xiaoshu, there was like a game where there was like no kills involved, and this guy was still 1.5k up out of just pure turrets, turret blades, and minion farm.
Yeah.
So the question for me is like comes down to, do we think that for me to decide the All Pro, do we think that JDG, like the BLG's competition, so like the Chinese LPL competition, is with the fact that they had Zika, they had Flandre, they had Xiaoshu, is as high as the one that Keen faced?
I mean, I get what you mean.
I think it's not that far.
I think for sure.
I think it's
Actually, I think if for sure, if there's one role right now that can be even in both regions, or at least, or even maybe LPL is better, it's top lane. Honestly, if I have to be very honest.
because I think like the way I see it, like LPL top laners, aside from Flandre, they're actually willing to push themselves more to the limit when it comes to like min-maxing everything in the laning phase. And I think Xiaoshu and Bin are the two kind of guys who are trying to do that. And it's kind of like back
Even
in the
Zika,
day when
I think, or maybe
even
a bit less,
Zika-
a bit less, a bit
I,
less.
I
yeah.
think a bit less.
Yeah.
But the way I see it, kind of reminds me of Keen and Zeus and Doran back in the ZFGK days that year, where like Gen.G, Hanwha Life, and T1 had their kind of own guy, and based on the meta, one would shine more than the other. Unless it was Doran and Zeus, because then Doran would crush on Zeus. But that's a side note. I think there's a debate to be made around the top lane. I just for the sake of changing things, I don't want to see a full Gen.G All Pro team. I'm just going to put Bean.
Okay,
because
but
I like to change things. And you
the
can call
issue-
me biased. You can call me biased, but I don't care here because I feel like giving like I wouldn't even consider like Canyon out.
What
And
do you
that's
mean?
like
What do you mean?
I
like,
think.
I-
Well,
like,
first let's put
for-
Keen in because I think it is Keen. But we could put number 2
Okay,
would be Bin.
so you break the debate.
Yeah.
Not even arguing with you.
shit.
Not even arguing.
Number 2 Bin. I mean it's fair to put to say Bin's like the one that's got a chance to challenge.
I think
feel
Keen,
there's not
Keen
like
is just
a-
more.
Yeah, go on.
To me, just Keen is just more well-rounded. You know, that's just it. You know, when it will go to Cassante, like he's the best Cassante in the world.
Listen,
I
we're
don't
in a
think Bean right
tournament
now
that's full best
is a
of
very good
5
Cassante. You know,
as well. Like you need
yeah.
adaptation.
And you know,
Ah.
and you know when you look at the difference between Keen and the other top laners in this region, I think you can say that of course Bin is a tier above given how he stomps Xiaoshu and stuff. But I think Keen is like 2 or 3 tiers above any top laners in LCK, honestly, right now. So that to me that's the main reason. It's like that's the role where I see the most difference between him and the others, you know.
Okay.
That's the main reason.
And this is
I mean,
assuming
definitely,
this
like,
is
I
assuming
don't-
Bin,
I don't
Bin
think-
doesn't
for me,
storm
it's
out
a
of
little bit
the training
closer.
as well.
For me, it's a little bit closer, but I'm fine with having Keen. I think it's all like I don't want to say like Keen is bad. I
But
definitely
I think Bin is the only one that can match him, honestly, right now. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I have to be very honest.
I
There's
think
one
for-
guy, that's him.
For third, I think we would all agree it would be Xiaoshu at this point, based on what we said.
Yeah.
I don't think like clear.
You know what? I
is-
think we can have an argument about Broken Blade, but
No way! No,
that's-
no, no!
that's-
I'm sorry. Like, man,
I'm
no,
not
no. You're...
I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it here. I think it's gonna shock everyone. It's gonna shock everyone in this tournament.
I think definitely there's
There's too
like,
much to prove.
Like I think BB definitely has, but like based on what happened so far, I don't think so. I think BB's greatest strength comes from the drafts, or like comes from having such a wide champion pool that he can make up, like we said earlier, a lot of like maybe his lack of individual skills compared to others. But like when I'm looking at All Pro, I'm just judging by skills. Like skills and impact on the team. That's my 2 criterias
I
of
think
judging all
BB
pro
is skilled, man.
mostly.
I think we forgot about his skills last year because he just couldn't find the solutions. But I think BB is very, very skilled actually. When you look look in the final, look at Yasuo, man. How many like keyblades he found on Kalist and stuff like this guy has it, you know. I know he's old. I know he had a rough time last year, but I really do think that when he gets to his prime, he's
You
very
might
good.
want to take a
bit of okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna take one. No, but actually no, it's Xiaoshu. For sure, right now it's Xiaoshu. But I'm putting that out there. Be careful with BB. I think he can shock everyone again.
All right, jungle then.
Where are you putting my Unk Dokla?
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
Dokla with
this guy need to find even cheesier picks than BB to win some games.
bro, like in China,
to go
like
Vayne
Dokla
Varus,
is
like
actually
what the fuck? That's
Dokla
disgusting.
is super popular in China, and there was like people were using like AI stuff to like. I'll probably we can find the clip, it would be so funny. It's like they were trying to like they made like a meme about it, like saying that you need to like they were basically telling Vayne that the Dokla what was the thing, the video was like about Dokla. Someone used AI to make Dokla say that in order to become the best in the world, they would have like Vayne would have to beat him, but they used AI to make him say that in Chinese. So and then it was like there was a broken blade on the back saying the same thing. So it was like super like out of nowhere.
I've just seen that in press conference, like Bean got asked what he think about Dokla and stuff, and he said like if he achieved to actually play a match against me, that would mean he already did a great job. I said something like that.
Right, jungle then. Is there more of a debate here then?
No, to me, no. To me, that's the exact same thing. Like Canyon is just a tier above.
Who is it you
And
thought,
especially
Davide?
because I think last year you could have an argument, but this year, like the season Canyon had, it's been a while that I haven't seen Canyon be so comfortable. You know, I think he just found both his place in the team, but also I think we already discussed that, but the fact that the meta is back to the simple meta actually, that there's no lane swap, the game is as it should be. I think is where Canyon strive the most because this guy is just too talented on the actual like normal game, you know. He just find these opportunities that no one sees. He's just too good at playing like around his team right now. While before it was like his team playing around him in Damwon and stuff. I think right now he learned how to play like around his team, and yeah, I think with laners that win, which Gen.G has right now, Canyon is just the best you can have in the current meta, which is like a farming meta, and yeah.
The one thing for me, like I don't want to challenge it again because it feels like I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. I mean, I'm actually so glad that I'm getting to see like 2022, 2023 Canyon back because I feel like the last 2 years he's struggled a lot more. The one thing that while I agree with what Ethan said, I feel like the jungle as a whole is a lot more closer. Like, and even if we include, like we said earlier, Inspired and Skewmon, there's a debate to be made that one of those two can potentially make it into the All Pro. I think. I'm not sure what your guys take on.
I think Jungle is the worst stack troll for sure. Actually,
like I was looking through the names. It's like Young-J on Loud is like 7th. I mean, it's like it's kind of weird to put Young-J 7th. Because I don't think the guy was bad. Like he never really got his tier 1 chance because this guy used to play in Gen.G Challengers, I think, if I remember correctly, back in the day. And then he moved across a couple of teams, and now he's been playing like in LATAM for a while. I think it's like Canyon definitely shined the most, but I feel like it's because many other junglers had some clear off moments during the past few months that kind of lower their consistency. I think that if we were to talk about potential, I think they would be like all very close.
I think when you talk about potential, Canyon is like an edge above everyone else to me. But that's maybe I'm a bit biased because like I think Damwon 2021, like 2020, 2021 was like
No,
the
wait.
best mid jungle team
No,
in ever. You know?
I actually agree. I think like yeah, I guess you can make that argument. For me, it's like I don't think we will see that canyon anymore.
I think
Or
we're
like
starting to see it
we're
in this
starting to
LCK Cup.
see it, but I think we're only seeing like a part of it because I feel like the whole carry thing is gone for Gen.G. Like Canyon will never be a carry on Gen.G. Or like will never be given that role of let me do the thing. Or
I can't agree. I don't agree with you with that. I think they clearly like giving him like for example, one thing is that if teams don't ban Nidali in game 3, he will pick Nidali in game 3. You know, starting in game 3, he will always pick Nidali. So that's like
I need to check because I feel like I'm maybe forgetting something.
like there's
Bro,
that
he
and
played one Nidalee game. He's been playing like
because it is
Wukong,
permaban
Xingzao,
and
Pantheon, Bayern.
yeah, because two reasons. One, it is permabanned, starting again like to game 3.
Okay.
And second, they only played like 2 game 4 in the entire like LCK Cup. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
the
that's
reason.
true.
Of course, if you go to game 4, game 5, like Nidali will get picked, you know. And actually, I think it was against Phoenix, right? That they like in game 4 that they pick Nidali or something. But anyway, this guy when he's given Nidali, he will pick it and he will carry the game on his own, you know. And that's like something that is the only one doing that, you know. Like there's not a single other jungler that will do that. Maybe Shun can have his kindred, but even his kindred can lose games, right?
I mean, we started seeing stuff like Kha'Zix, you know.
Yeah, true. And but
Yes.
I think Canyon at Kha'Zix would be one of the best. Again, it's just those champions with a clear agency, you know, to actually win games on their own and actually put rhythm on the map and stuff. I think Canyon is the best at it, like for sure, you know, and being a playmaker and stuff. And again, when we had those Ambessa, Atrox and stuff, Canyon played them, you know, and is very good at it. And I think right now we have like what? We have Vi, Xinzao, Jarvan, Pantheon that are like very contested in the early
Yeah.
games, right? Um, but and I think Canyon is one of the best at this to start with, and again and Wukong as well. I think these are 5 of his best champions, like even historically, I would say. But like what Canyon struggled a bit with was, you know, when he has to play those champions that, you know, won't be those playmakers, won't like if you give them the lead, they won't carry games like Sejuani and stuff. And right now in game 4 and 5, you don't have to play Sejuani or this kind of champion, you know. Of course, I think, for example, Canyon is a good scanner, so he will pull out the scanner in game 5 if he has to. But if Canyon is given Ambessa, Nidali, Atrox, um, those kind of champ, you know, in game 4, 5, he will solo win games. And that's something that you can't really say for other jungler, you know, that will play like more standard stuff like Nocturne, you know. I just see Canyon carrying games more often than I see the others. Maybe apart from Shun, but even Shun, I think, like he has to take a role right now, given how laning is good, like how strong lane is and how good are his laners, that he will always prioritize setup, before carry potential. I would say, even though I think we saw a game of Kindred already, and you know that he's capable of putting it. But yeah, I just think across the board, Canyon, when it comes to farming meta and having his laner ahead, given how good his laner are, I just think, yeah, Canyon is the best you can have right now.
Let's put it out then.
But maybe I'm overforcing it. But I think to me it's like the most logical, thing. It's the
No,
most
like
natural to pick
definitely,
Cannon,
like
right?
it definitely makes sense. I just
Yeah.
want, I just like having fun to challenge stuff because I feel like otherwise we're always agreeing on everything, and I actually like
Good luck
my
with
mind is
good
kind
luck
of
with
telling
challenging
me
the next one. Good luck with
like
challenging
I
the
need
next
to
one.
challenge a lot of things here because otherwise I feel like we're like a broken record saying the same thing sometimes.
Is there
Yeah,
is there
yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
easy third place? I feel like third's probably
Actually,
harder,
don't. I
right?
actually don't even think
Shun.
second place. I don't even think second place
Yeah,
is that close.
yeah.
Like, is that sure? You know.
To me,
'Cause-
Raptor has an argument, for the top two.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, it's
And
hard.
even Junja.
Like yeah, even Junja for me is like Junja's growth. I think Junja's growth in JDG's team was what led to JDG increase their level, I guess, throughout
Yeah.
the entire tournament. So I think he kind of needs to be rewarded for that. I just think that, like, obviously on a general case, Shun has also actually leveled up, especially compared to the start of the season. I think if we are judging from potential and stuff like that, and based on I guess the fact that like Shun has repeatedly done well at the international, I think most of the time, he should be second. For third, actually, I like it's super close because Junja Raptors, like Scuman and Aspire for me are all in the same tier
Yeah,
based on what they can do to their, like, based on the impact that I said
but I even
before is
think
one of the criteria to their team.
I even think Shun is in that chair, honestly. Like I'm not sure Shun is clearly on the Canyon chair right now.
No,
I think
actually,
like
yeah, definitely. I think he's much closer to the third place names I was saying. I don't think
yeah,
he's a clear second, but I still think he would be second for me.
yeah.
Because I think the ramp up he's had is what led BLG to then kind of start stomping people in playoffs.
I think if you have
Because
to be like completely honest, like BLG, you can see the difference when Shun is in and when Beishuan or Wei or whatever is
yeah,
in.
exactly. So that's why I think like he kind of needs the number two, because otherwise it would be kind of weird. But definitely, like I would honestly, to just tweak things up, I would put Skum on third.
Why
Just
not?
put it out
Let's
there.
get at least
Stop
one.
the cope, man.
Come on,
I
let's get at
can't,
least one
I
Western
can't,
player
I
in.
can't do that. Nah,
No.
guys, it's impossible. If you
No,
have to, if you have to put one, it's not him. Like nah.
no.
Of course, Command is insanely good, and I think he's probably the biggest talent Europe has right now. But
But you
like
hate
to me
Skumon.
right now, not
We put Raptor.
not putting
Yeah.
Raptor after the split he had is like it's like yeah, it's
Okay.
impossible.
I think Raptor would have been my fourth.
Really? So you would put Gen.G then?
I will actually put Junja below Inspired. Cause the way Junja plays is like Junja has been playing the entire game, or like he's kind of like most of his professional career in a quite a one-dimensional way. I think he started playing differently a little bit just because like recently because of Tabe, or like recently because he like Tabe made him like the whatever, like the entire team environment around JDG made him realize that he has to kind of change the way he plays. Because it would have, but there were a lot of scenarios, especially during regular season, where Junja would just like send it.
But I think it still
Like
has this issue, honestly. I think
he still has that issue, which is
Yeah.
I think, for example, I don't think Raptor Inspired or Q1 has any of those things. And I think for like junglers it's super important to not mess up anything. Like
I think when BLG lose,
if you
Junja is a big reason of why they lose,
Yes, exactly. And it's also one of the reasons why I think whenever like JDG does something well, there's still a likelihood that they can send it right after because of someone on the team, most of the time being Junja, or like a couple of times being Junja, sometimes Gala, being kind of like the
Exactly, I agree.
the culprit, you know,
I
the
agree, I agree a
culprit.
lot with you. And I think for example, against Weibo, that's what we saw in game 3. I think Junja nearly threw the game, on that Wukong, like going to the Raptors while the team, like not to Raptors, the Wolves, why his team was at Drake. Like there are too
Yeah.
many stuff like that where he's
Like
like you
he'll
won't
try to
understand why
min-max.
he does that.
He'll try to min-max a lot of situations, but he sometimes just like overforces them
Yeah.
with no like by not having like the like a kind of, I guess, more risk averse decision making, and
It's just
I
a question
think
of maturity, I guess.
I mean, like
I
the
think-
guy has like the guy's been playing for like 10 years or
No,
something
for sure,
like
but
that.
he was
Like,
playing in LCP, man. He was playing in LCP. That's not the same, you know.
I mean, he played in the FPL, man. He was substitute to world
Yeah,
champions. Like,
he was
you know,
substitute
it's not like
again.
fair.
He
I
played
guess.
he played like a few games. Like it's not you
But-
can judge him, you know.
But I still think like if like I think the number 3 is very close among these
I
four
agree.
guys I just said, and I think like for me currently Raptor and Scuman are a little bit higher. I don't think Inspire is necessarily bad. It's just that I think Inspired's competition was probably not as strong as the LEC one. Because
And I
I
also
think
think
you having to beat like kind of destroy Yike for 2 games in the final, and like and even technically the third
even
game,
five,
I think the
even
Pantheon
5
game.
games. Honestly,
Like
5 games. He destroyed him. No 5 to me.
I mean, I don't think he destroyed them. He destroyed in the other 5, but I think it's like it clearly shows to me like this human is the best jungler we have in the LEC. And but I think I rate Helioya and Yai quite highly. So it makes me like the fact that he kind of beat a stronger competition also makes me think that he's a better jungler.
I agree. And
Like,
I think inspired also what's like not playing in his favor is that I think he has to carry comms a lot. While even though Skumond has to do that a bit, like for sure BB is more of a shot caller, Hans is more of a shot caller in the team than probably most of inspired teammates, you know. I like, you know, there's when you look at LCS there you can see the voice comms of the teams. And like you can see the voice come for like a full sequence of 1 minute, and every time like inspired is just like you can mute the all 4 that inspired will still carry the voice comms, you know. So yeah, for sure it doesn't help when you have to focus on your gameplay as well as focusing on like carrying the comms and carrying macro managing your team, you know.
Right, mid lane, I've just filled it in because it's obvious, isn't it? I feel like it's.
I
number,
think I have an argument. No, I'm joking.
Is number 2 obvious as well? I feel like number 2 maybe is kind of obvious.
I actually
Yeah,
think
it's
I
obvious.
actually think
It's very
for
obvious.
one time actually I wouldn't I think Chovy would be best. Like I don't think there's an argument here to be made.
No, there's an argument for the top 2, but not like
Okay,
not
okay.
For the top 1 for sure. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you wanted to challenge
no.
Chovy.
No, but but even Knight I think is not he can be challenged. That's what I'm saying. Like there's no argument even for the top 2. You know, like top 1 is Chovy and top 2 is Knight. There's no argument about that to me.
You mean for third place?
Yeah, for third place there is an argument. That's the only
Okay,
place
yeah,
where there
definitely.
Is that where we
Definitely.
get up? Do we sneak a Westerner in?
That's
No,
that can be. No, to me that can be. But I think Onq, yeah.
I think Honkyu is third. Like the fact that this guy matched like Knight most of the season. Like at least if
Yeah, it's
Knight,
Onq. It's Onq
if
100%.
Knight was the best, I think Honkyu is second best in the LPL.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
no question about that.
And that's the only guy that is matching him always, you know. Even last year
Yeah.
he was matching him at MSI and at Worlds. Like he's always that guy that is putting him on the back foot, you know. Always. And even in the final, to me, Onq was the player that matched him the most. Like I mean, among all his teammates, he was the player that was like putting in the biggest fight against Knight, you know. And and he's always like pushing him to make the mistake, you know. I remember that Rise play, you know, on mid lane where he's just like flashing and just dies, you know. Like that, he's playing on the limits, on the edge, and like Knight is not happy with that. I feel like, you know, like I feel like Knight would want him to bend the knee or to, you know, look down, and he's not, and he won't, you know. And that's why I think if there's one guy that can actually match Knight and Chovy at this tournament, it's Onq. Not Caps, if I have to be very honest.
That's
Even
fair.
though I think Caps can match Onq, you know. But I think Caps cannot really match Knight. Or he can probably match Knight, actually, but not Chovy. While Onq, I think, can put up a bit of a fight, you know.
That's good. We got one nice quick one. So let's go to bot then.
ahead.
Is this where we don't get a Gen.G player, number 1?
No. No. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Diable, no.
No.
No, I was not thinking of Diable actually.
I mean,
think-
Viper. I
Yeah.
think Viper is the only like what I love Viper. I don't think I don't. I think like a lot of things like even the All Pro. I think most of the time it comes to ITAS. I've been saying like this that I think Viper has been the best ADC for many years so far, but I think this year I haven't seen from him enough. Or like I don't think BLG has done a good enough job to make him shine that much to make me say that he's still the best. Why
Yeah,
I think
I can see what you
Ruler,
mean. Yeah.
like Ruler has had many opportunities, and the fact that he kind of like Diable and Kalin were the only ones who can, and like Pace and Carry are like super strong bot lanes in the LCK. The fact that he, as far as I remember, never lost to them, but then would take over fights is a good enough proof to me that Ruler is the number one right now. Like I've been putting Viper number one for many years so far, like for the past 3 years, I think so. I think this is probably the first year where I think Viper is number two.
No, you're not putting
And
him
there's a
three.
and
You're not putting him three.
and there's a debate to be made to put him third after Diable, but he's still my guy, so he stays in second.
You can go too far with it.
I cannot go too far, man. I was actually because we did the power rankings with Elias and Luca the other day, and wait, let me see if I can find them. I think we all did the same. Let me see.
I think for
Yeah,
Viper,
no, actually, so
yeah.
Luca had Gala in third before Diable,
my guy is
and
just yeah.
and then Elias and I did the same thing. The one thing that there's a discussion to be made because I made a spicy take that I wanted actually to cover, but we all agree that basically like top three is these three guys, right?
Yeah. Like
For me,
the Ruler, Viper, and Diable, yeah.
For me, actually, the debate comes down to, I guess after those three, you would have Gala, right? And I'm not sure
Yes,
if
but-
Ethan.
I mean,
Ethan agrees.
yes, but right now I don't think Gala is playing at his best or is
Yeah,
consistent
definitely.
consistent enough to like it's just a chair below those three, you know.
Yeah,
That's what I
my
think.
question, like my debate comes from fifth to seventh, because I don't like Berserker, Bull, and Hansama.
Yeah.
I like based on what I've seen, or like, but based on what I think is vital to be in ADC, I
You
went
put
on to put
Berserker.
Hansama seventh. I put Berserker fifth, and Bull says sixth. And it's not because I'm shitting on G2. I definitely think Hansama can definitely like go up again, or like he has the potential to go up again. It's just that I feel like there were a couple of mistakes that were, for me, were kind of like too critical, like too.
Yeah, I see I get what you mean. I get what you mean, and I saw that
And
in
I think,
playoff as well. Like in
Berserker and
finals.
Berserker and Bull carry more, like have been more consistent in what they did to their teams over the past few months. I definitely don't want to put like it pained me to see me put him there, is what I'm trying to say. Like I don't think
But isn't like I haven't watched I haven't watched CBLOL, but isn't like the top laner of Loud like their main carry by far? I think it is. Like I think he was
I think for me Bull was like the way I see it, like Bull was kind of like the team fight player.
okay, but outside of 4 matches, okay, four playoff matches, their top laner was MVP 3 times. So you
No,
see,
yeah,
to me,
definitely Xeno
yeah.
looked super good to me. Like
Like,
I'm actually
and
super excited to see this guy, because I feel like it's very interesting to see some Brazilian guy come up out of nowhere, because I think this guy is super new as well, by the way. On a side note, So I think
Fucking that
he
board
used to
was
be like
2007.
an academy player for VKS, and then he got loaned out, and he's apparently like on loan, which is kind of crazy because VKS didn't do as good this season.
But yeah, it's just so I'm not sure about Bull. Like I'm not sure about him. Like I remember him a bit in Brian, like in Bros, but I don't have such a like a good memory
Yeah,
of him.
actually no. Okay, fair. Like maybe I went a bit too far, but I think Berserker for me was a better ADC than Hans.
Probably in Teamfight, yeah.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what then? It's a good
I
job
think
we're not doing rankings of 1 to 8 for everything, because obviously we'd be here all day, wouldn't we? So let's keep it moving, guys. Bloody hell.
Go ahead.
No, sorry.
Okay, that's where we can put a guy top 1 to me. That's the only spot where we can.
So what? Support? Is there
To
some?
me, the top 3 is very clear in support. Like top 3 is very clear. It's Kellin, Vampire, and Duro, like for sure.
Yeah.
In that order?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Actually,
In that order?
No, not in that order. Not in that order. I wouldn't say Duro is top 3.
for
never.
me, there's a debate to be made between On and Vampire. I think Kellin and Dura are definitely top 2 for me.
Yeah. I think Kellin can be top 1. Let's break the thing, guys.
Actually, I also thought about that.
To me, it's Kellin top 1. Go ahead. Don't hesitate. Lee.
Sorry,
I think based on what we've seen by BFX bot lane, there's a discussion to be made about Kellin.
So it's meta. It's his meta, you know. It's the fact that we have range subs. Kellin is the best at range subs right now. I just think it is like it is that way, you know.
I think the same thing works for Vampire and On. Like I think the one
Vampire
reason
especially,
why
yeah.
I think Vampire is super good on specific champions. Like most of them usually have a more not as a proactive kind of basically not like he's better off on like things like Renata and playing a little bit not as aggressively. Like let
Seraphine
someone
as
else
well.
do the play. Let someone else do the playmaking, which
Yeah.
is why I think like Vampire for me shown like did better, but at the same time, I
He's
feel
very
like
clutch as well, you know. He's very clutch as well. That's the best.
yeah, but man, like how can you put like an Anivia support game 5 Anivia support away? Like that's the one thing for me. It's like I feel like On had more rough moments, or I feel like it's the same discussion that we had for Junja. I feel like BLG's sometimes off games are due to all On being a little bit too flippy, or like he definitely has the confidence and the willingness to pull those things off. The issue is that he doesn't pull them off.
Yeah.
So it looks like
And when you have bad games, he has very bad games, you know. While I do think
and
like
when
Vampire
he
is
tries
more
to pull
reliable.
them off, it's not like, oh, I missed by a little, like it didn't go perfectly. It's like, okay, there was like 100 scenarios to be played out. 60, 70 of them could go well, and then he always ends up doing the bad ones.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the issue.
He can solo lose game, you know. He can solo lose game. While I don't think Vampire can solo lose game. You know.
Yeah, but like because he's not put in that position, you know.
I think to me he's very clutch, you know, and I agree. I get what you mean about that. He's not playing that much of proactive champions, but for example, you know, he's willing to putting out the trash, you know, those kind of champions, you know, in game 4, game 5.
I mean, like it's one of his iconic champions, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
So it's not like the guy doesn't know how to play him. And, wait,
but you know, on Seraphine, on Karma, on Nami is one of the best. And right now, these 3 picks are your go-to. Even Lulu, these are your go-to when it comes to the first 3 games of a BO5. You know, so to me, you have to reward the fact that he's like, you know, the best at it. You know, at these champions. In the current meta, like probably On is a better, like is a
player.
Yeah, I wouldn't even like. I'm not sure to say that, but like probably On has proven more than Vampire, you know, that he can be a better player. But I do think that in the current meta, Vampire has the edge, to me. And also about consistency and stuff. But I guess since I've made my voice heard a bit too much, like if you want to go for On, we go for On. Like it's up to you.
You be the decider.
No, let's put Vampire. I'm down to put in Vampire. Like it's interesting.
Okay. So Well, with that, so we've got the 5 players completed: Keen, Canyon, Chovy, Ruler, Kellen. So does that mean it's obvious that Gen.G are winning
Yeah.
first stand as we move on to predictions?
I
I
mean,
think
yeah.
we've just
Yeah,
plugged those
definitely.
straight in, right? That's
yeah,
pretty easy.
There's not even debate, honestly.
So we're going to do some
MVP,
predictions.
finals, and
Yeah, some random things. So MVP, which will always be for the winning team as well.
finals MVP, you mean? Or just
Yeah, I
MVP
mean, well,
in general?
let's say finals MVP because that's the award they actually give.
Then it's Ruler, I guess. It's either Ruler or Canyon to me.
You think? But they don't. I mean, those sort of things they
I
get
think
swayed
right now,
by they get swayed by narrative and stuff, don't they? Well,
no, but you know what? I think right now the meta is so much centered around junglers, and the fact that I don't know if you saw that, but like most like MVPs in player, for example, in LCK were for junglers,
Yeah.
and so I will say Canyon for that reason, and because it will be a BO5, and that maybe we will see Nidali having like 10-0 again, going 10-0. So yeah, I will say Canyon.
I think because if we're talking about finals MVP, I'm thinking a lot more on who will Gen.G face, and then how much of a gap do I think each player will pull off against their respective opponent, like their respective counterpart. I think one of the names would be Canyon. I think that if it's not BLG against Gen.G, it would be also Keen for me.
so who are you
Like
going for?
there's a world
Consider
where we get a non BLG Gen.G final, and I think King will literally
Yeah, I agree.
like even the opposite, like if it's not Gen.G in whatever upset happens, not in the final, it's BLG against someone else. I think Bin is like laning wise, he just like just a Canyon matchup. Like,
But I think
no pun
Bin is
intended.
there's a higher chance Bin gets it, like if he wins or something, than Keen, because I think um Keen can be more of a weak sider than Bin actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
definitely.
will not shine as much. And also I think Bin plays to actually smash the lane. And that's why you will always see 2k gold ahead. You will always see him 2k gold ahead. 2k gold ahead. While I don't think Keen obviously he plays to win lane, but you won't permanently see him in the BO5 being 2k gold ahead, especially because he's playing more of the weak side. He's playing more of, he's blinding more, when he picks in draft. So yeah, that's the reason why I don't think Keen might get it. But yeah.
Which one of them are you
So what's your
picking
take,
of yours
Davide?
then, Davide?
Yeah.
Think Keen or Canyon, wouldn't you?
Keen or Canyon?
Let's put Keen. Let's change things up for the sake of changing things up.
I'm going Chovy, and I think it won't matter even if he's like by far the best player on the finals or what. I just
You're
think
so original, man. You're so original.
well, I am so original. I'm the only one going for it, aren't I? So
Yeah,
fuck
that's
you.
true.
But no, I think it would be because it would be like part of the narrative of Chovy getting to winning a world, and it's another step along the way, winning a new tournament he's not won before. And I think that's gonna sway the voters. So let's do overachievers, underachievers. So this is the team you think is gonna. It doesn't mean they have to do a deep run, although it's not a long tournament anyway. But just a team that is going to be a bit more impressive than you expected, and a team that's going to be worse than than people expect.
Overachievers for me, Loud.
And what would count as overachieving? Do you think? I think if they beat LYON, right, then that's already more expected.
I mean, like, I think for me, like, because it like overachievers is kind of also based on America's Cup. I think there's a world where we see Loud pushing all the non LCK LPL teams to much closer series, regardless of
Do you think they can win games against Asian teams?
Maybe one team between JDG and BFX, but even that, I think it's a big stretch. And I think it wouldn't be down to Loud itself; it would be more down to like the enemy team having an off team, like an off game. or like off draft or whatever.
I can see
It's
them.
like
I can see them
I-
taking a game to
I
Gen.G.
can see them taking a game, but
And actually, it
It
will
would,
be a very nice thing for the Brazilian crowd. You know?
definitely like many
That's
stars.
true.
Like
We're not thinking
I
about
feel
the
like
buff.
there are too many
They have a buff.
there are too many stars that need to be aligned for my side. But definitely I think Cloud would be my go-to.
I'm
I can
gonna
see that,
go.
but I will go for. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go G2. I reckon,
No,
but
I
actually,
wanted to go
it's
that.
gonna to qualify it. I don't. I think I probably don't expect that they would take a series still off an Eastern team. But I think if they could do, assuming they end up having 2
3-2.
series, like even in the groups, they'll play probably BLG and BFX. And if they could do like if they lost 3-2 both times, I don't think you're going away thinking like, oh, that was a disaster. So I'm gonna say overachieving in the sense that they'll put up a fight against the Eastern teams and I don't think they'll crumble. But I'm still not sure that they'll take a series. So that'll be like a minor overachievement. It won't be amazing still. But yeah, that's
So
my
you
thoughts.
think that, for example, if G2 beats TSW, then goes against BLG or BFX, the winner of BLG BFX in the upper bracket,
Yeah,
even if they lose, and they lose also the second series, the second elimination series, as long as it's close, it's fine.
I think so.
Okay,
I think
I
that's
see
fair.
that.
I
I
don't
see
think that's
that.
like
I think that's
worrying.
fair. I think that's fair. For me, it's fair.
I'm
I think
gonna
that
go
was the
Broken
goal
Blade.
all along, by the way.
Yeah, true.
I'm going Broken Blade in overachievers.
Well, have that as your player to watch. The player to watch is like,
No, because I have another one.
okay, never mind.
player to
But
watch.
you can put BB. I think it's fine.
Whoops.
I actually was thinking of players as well, but I don't think there's one.
I think Broken Blade can shock a bit because I think everyone has not a good memory of him out because of last year. And I think right
Yeah.
now G2 is very good at finding the counter picks for him. And at like even though they play around bots, I think Skumond is very good to actually cheese gank top and stuff. And put BB ahead. And I think BB is just very good at playing on GH as well. Even on those like unfamiliar champion for people like Yasuo, like Shen and stuff. And yeah, I think last year he just didn't find the solution. Now I think he found it. I also think he's good at playing like the rumbles, the stuff like that he was not good at before. So yeah, I just think he's more of a complete player. And that's why I can see him actually matching the best. I think he already showed it last year, when he solo killed Bin and stuff at Worlds. So yeah, I just think he's on the good path, and I think he has so much to prove that he will give it his all, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him overperform.
Who's going to underachieve? Team or player?
Probably BLG.
Really? What would
I
count?
can see them.
What would class as underachieving? I guess. Well, to be fair, if you're any of the 4 Asian teams, want to win the tournament, so not winning the tournament probably counts. They would probably consider an underachievement. But what would you see as underachievement for BLG?
I would say below top 2 with an underachievement, and I think it's possible. I think they can lose to BFX, as I said earlier. So I would say that if there's a team, because that's such a short team pool, I would say if there's a team that could underachieve things, I think it's them. Because we're not expecting as much as the others, I guess.
This is such a quick tournament as well. Like if they have a shock loss in their first game, knock to the confidence, Bin storms
Which
out.
happens a lot with
Bin
BLG.
storms out of scrims, refuses to play, and then they're fucked, aren't they?
Which happens a lot to BLG, honestly. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be that surprised.
Who's yours, Davide?
I was thinking of a player here, and I think it's actually Viklo.
Ooh, I can see it. I can see it.
Like I think because of what we were saying about mid lane pool, because like aside from Honkyu, Knight, and Chovy, there's also a question to be made about Caps, and there's also a question to be made about Saint. Because I don't think Saint is bad.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think the gap between these players actually is that high, and like there's a discussion to be made about vehicles being a little bit more volatile. I don't think he has had such much of a volatility this split. But at the same time, I've already seen some signs of that,
Yeah.
which makes me kind of worried because I think vehicles like lack of performance can potentially like mean the demise of BFX as a whole. Because mid lane is super important right now. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
don't
agree.
like he can be an attack point, and if he doesn't withstand the spread, I'm happy to be completely proven wrong, but I think there could be a sign there.
You're not the year of Vikla believer or what?
Never was. Man, I got completely proven wrong by that FlyQuest run.
Yeah,
Was it
so,
2023 or when
uh,
like best team half of the year and the shit team the second part of the year.
yeah.
I think it was.
Yep. He's still inconsistent a bit.
Yeah.
And even though he proved a lot, I think, yeah, his inconsistency can show up again, for sure.
I'm struggling on mine. I'm thinking Davide's convinced me about Loud putting up a fight, and then I'm hoping as an NA hater, although does LYON count as NA because they're not really American, like not really North American org, and they've got one North American player. But I'm gonna hope that Loud on home soil has an upset, and then yeah, LYON. I mean, like that's their only chance of getting a win, isn't it? Really, so they're going to go winless, and it's going to be a disaster for the LCS, as if they've not had enough disasters. But there we go. So, player to watch then. Who was it you were saving for here, Ethan?
I'd say Skumond. I'm putting a lot of G2 players here, but I'd say Skumond because I think it's time to shine, you know. As Davide said a bit earlier, I think like he's the best in Europe. I think there's not that much debate anymore, even though I think he's very close to other two, but still, like he proved it 2 split in a row that he's the best, you know. So to me, he's the best, and there's not that much debate. The thing is, he hasn't proved that he could play up to the international level yet. Like I think he proved it in a few games here and there, you know, but he hasn't proved it in such a dominant and consistent way as he did in Europe. Of course, it's not the same tier of players and it's not the same caliber, so it's harder for him to adapt, right? But I still think that he played better in EU than he played in the international stage, which is quite normal because last year was his first time, right? Like it was his first few international tournaments. So right now, I think because it's, you know, the stakes are not as high as they will be for MSI or Worlds. It's a short tournament. You don't have that much pressure. I would say that it's his time to shine, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finally finds his footing against the best right now. And yeah, I think he can do it. So that's why he has the potential for sure.
Thinking Davide, catching your eye.
I had two names. One was Qmond, which Ethan got. The other one
So, say
for
so.
One was
Say
mine,
so.
to be fair.
the way the one for me is actually Honkyu, which is kind of weird because we obviously like this guy has been playing like internationals throughout 2025, but I actually think that like we are starting to see the evolution of this guy, and if the evolution is actually completed, there's a discussion to be made that this guy can match Knight as the future star of the potentially future star of the LPL. So I think that like him having the chance to get go against Chovy in the first game will tell us more of and then obviously subsequent series will tell us more about Honkyu's level and expectation for the rest of the year. So I think it's actually a Honkyu.
And you will learn a lot. You will learn a lot for sure with this first match, you know. So that's something you can take away right after the series, right? And also one thing about Honkyu, I would say like it's been a while, no, that we haven't seen a very good mid laner outside of Knight in LPL. So I'm happy for that as well, you know.
Are you not? You're not considering my boy Xiaohu?
No, I'm not. I'm telling you right now, I'm not.
Rookie? Nah.
No.
Nah. Fair. Okay, fair.
I'm
Like the
gonna
last one
go.
I can remember, it's probably Dwinby, you know. So
I'm gonna go
Shanks
Diable.
wasn't bad last year, though.
what did you say? Sorry.
Shanks wasn't bad last year.
Yeah.
True.
Shanks as well. Yeah, for sure. But
I'm going Diable as
One year
someone that
wonder.
as someone that doesn't massively closely follow all the regions, and I just hear all the hype coming out about him, and now it's time for him to step up at an international. And it's a nice international to have as your first one because it is a smaller thing and probably less pressure. So yeah, that's who I'm excited to see.
we saw Kalis shine a lot last year at first 10, so why not
Exactly.
Diable this time? You know.
The last one. This is kind of a yes or no, and then you can qualify it if you like. Is a Western team getting into playoffs? I mean, it's kind of set up in a way that it shouldn't happen, even on a good day. Is there a chance?
There's a chance, but the issue is G2 is on BFX and BLG group,
Yeah,
man.
I think it's actually like G2 got the L by being placed with BFX and
I think they had a
BL.
shot against Gen.G, even stylistically, you know, like
Yeah, stylistically wise, that is what. Yeah, that's why I think even though
Skumon can storm Junja, you know.
even though I think JDG, I rate JDG as a whole higher. I think there's a chance that G2's style and strength can potentially upset that. So my answer would probably be no, because I think BFX is very stable, and BLG just not on the same level. I like. I would be delighted to be proven wrong here as well. But I think it's probably the worst matchup. Like
Yeah,
it's the two worst matchups because you have one that's basically. I don't think the potential is as high, which I'm talking about BFX, but I think their floor is very stable, like Ethan was saying, and I think BLG instead is just a tier above right now.
you know
Like
what?
like like
I would say if they have a chance, it's more against BLG than against
yes,
BFX, just
exactly.
because of styles.
Same,
Because I
same.
think BFX can like stomp them so hard in bot lane. While I think BLG will play more around solo laners, and I think that's where G2, if they find the right solutions in draft, if Skumon plays well around like his top lane and stuff to cover him and stuff to help him push when he gets fucked and stuff like that, I think they have a chance. While if it is like the 2v2 that BFX showed us, that play against this 2v2 that G2 showed us, I think it's cooked, man. Like there's no shot.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a
Like
no.
I definitely think like that Diable Kelly for me is like I think it's the worst bot lane you want to play against
Yeah, as G2.
if you were G2 because they would look to punish you in the first 5 minutes and Skumon does not have the amount of agency or nor he actually wants to play around that lane much.
Yeah.
Because it's usually mid and jungle playing together for bot lane and not just one. And him having to watch over the G2's bot lane to cover for those would then mean that Broken Blade can be punishable in the top side. Or
And
like
also
top side can be pushed very hard.
G2 is not that aggressive in mid lane, for example, when their
Yeah.
bot lane is in mid, while they will like BFX will just fight you in every wave and you will get fucked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's just too much of a gap right now. I don't think like Ons and Labrov are hopeless, I wouldn't say so. I think last year, for example, in summer, I think they were like probably the two best player with Command. But I think like it's very clear and obvious that right now it's not the case anymore. Like in playoff, they were not the go-to to G2 gameplay. Not as much as summer as last summer at least.
So I've got to be the lunatic to say yes then, just so we've got some amount of hope.
But bro, I have broken blades in overachievers and Skumons in players to watch, and I said no. Like what the
I'll say yes then. Come on, yes, G2. They're gonna.
Why?
Well, I'm gonna go against what I was saying for Diable in that it's a small event. It's a nice one to have your first international. You're not gonna feel the pressure. I'm gonna I'm gonna reverse Uno card that one, and I'm gonna say this BFX team, not much experience internationally. G2 are coming in. That they've had their struggles at internationals the last few years, but the core, even like the whole team, has that experience from last year. Even Skumond, he knows what to expect. He knows what it feels like to lose on the big stage, and they're ready for it now. They're gonna.
And you know what?
Listen, I feel like they'll lose to BLG in
me.
that qualifier match, the first one. They'll both drop down. They'll drop down against BFX. They'll nick the first map will go for G2, and then BFX are gonna be like, oh shit, what is happening? What do we do now? They're just gonna crumble. They're not used to the pressure. And G2's gonna G2's gonna 3-0 them. I'm gonna go all in 3-0 in the second qualification match.
But you know what? You've sold me a bit. So I want to say yes now, because also I think like especially the lack of experience can play tricks to BFX. That's true. And they can maybe crumble under pressure. But what is even more appealing to me is that, bro, it's such a big jet lag, right? For Asian teams.
Yeah.
So maybe we can play out of that, right? Like, if they're jet lagged that much, like.
And I don't know, like I don't know what travel plans are, but if you're a Korean team, you'd also probably think, like, maybe you wouldn't want to even travel that early because you still get better scrims back home. So maybe the Asian or the Korean teams might not be flying out straight away. Maybe they fly late and they don't have too much time to adjust to the jet lag as well. Never know. Right.
Actually, I'm copying, man. Put no on my name, please. Sorry.
There. I'll be the lunatic, don't worry. So there we go. That's our first stand preview done. Done a pretty good job. There is, just to touch on maybe what we had a couple of news bits that we could have talked about, but we've not really got the time. But let's talk about the one fun one still. That was well. So we've not talked about the return. Oh, sorry, I've got this messed up. There you go. Since we last spoke, obviously there's the return of Los Ratones, or the spiritual successor, with Witchcraft. All the same team. Yamato Cannon again as the coach, but it's just no connection to Casual this time. So Casual's out, and it's technically a new team, Witchcraft, that just get to go straight to EMEA Masters because of like how the slot carries over, because they were playing in the LEC, so they were allowed to go straight in. Blah blah blah, and that gets them potentially to EWC. So again, we could have a new LEC versus later on in the year. But then, what happened like 2 days into their new journey was this whole big blow up of Crown Shot versus Velja, of an argument in a VOD review, and then this argument went on, and the clips went round. Is it as disastrous or as crazy as everyone's saying? Because I also saw a lot of people saying like, well, it's maybe not even that unusual that arguments like this happen in teams. It's just because it's on stream that it seems really crazy. I don't know. What were your guys' thoughts?
I'm wondering. I'm actually wondering if there was any time with Los Ratones where this would happen.
I think that I remember a couple of times where like things would get heated, but then there will always be like casual kind of helping out and trying to like lower the tension. I think that regardless of who's right or wrong, I think whenever things get so heated, it's good that like everyone should try to slightly calm down and take a break.
It seemed like the issue was that Yamato Cannon wasn't there, I think, right? It was like a scrim they were doing without him, so there was no like mediator.
I think from each one of the players' perspective, I actually also said this on X. I think like each player has their own view of the game, and I think both of them can like both views, or like both Crownie and what Velja wanted are legit. Like are legit questions and stuff that you can discuss about. I think the wording is a little bit, because like everyone was saying about like not having power equal to winning lane, losing lane. Like, okay, yeah, there should be someone, first of all, I think, that kind of sets the standard for everyone else, because like it's a misunderstanding basically from what I see it. It's like someone saw as not win the lane as something being attacked, when what he was trying to I think what Velja was trying to say was, you guys do not have prio, so I cannot play this thing, because then it what impacts the jungler the most, not having scuttle crabs. It's all mainly just a communication problem. My issue with that, it's not about the fact that it blew out. My issue with that is that four of the 5 guys have been playing together for like a year. This thing shouldn't. I'm not expecting this thing to happen after a year.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's that kind of worries me the most, because it means that there's friction.
Because the thing is,
somewhat friction.
the thing is
some
as well,
level
like
of friction between them.
there'd not been a blow up like this on stream before. But if you think when they were in LEC, obviously they weren't streaming scrims anymore, and that's when they had their toughest run. When apparently the like you had Cajal crying on stream after they won, saying how how tough it's been for everyone. So I can only imagine what sort of things actually were happening in scrims that weren't being streamed anymore. And now they're suddenly back streaming scrims. Maybe they're still in, the vibe has changed a bit, and tensions have changed a bit. Because Cajal, I watched Cajal's reaction to it, and he was saying like the last few months he'd been like a 24/7 therapist. He said so. Like sounds like this stuff has been happening.
But
It's just like
maybe that's what they're liking right now. Maybe that's what they're liking right now. That mediator that maybe Caderel was. I
Well,
think
yeah,
he's
'cause-
very good at handling human emotions. And you can see that on many screams blocks and stuff they were streaming last year.
yeah.
So maybe just the fact that he's
Yeah.
not there anymore is
Oh,
not
'cause I
helping.
saw
I
as well a
think
bit.
Yamato.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I saw
Yeah,
a
go on.
bit of a clip of like Yamato's talking to Velja one-on-one afterwards, like after he finally is like available and joins in, and then Velja says to him, "Is like, oh, I wish you were just here. From like, if you were here, this would have been over in 5 minutes." So I think it's just
But,
it's
uh,
got
that's true as
these-
well. Yeah, like Yamato is supposed to be like that's supposed to be his best strength as well as a coach, to be like that leader, that mediator, that just set the tone in reviews and debates. But at the same time, I think like for sure, like the fact Yamato was not there is not helping. But like I would have expected Buipo to be that kind of voice, so I'm kind of disappointed, honestly. Like maybe I know he's very vocal and I know he can be very critical about his team and stuff, but I still would have expect him to be more of a leader in that regard of like handling the review and saying like if Yamato is not here, he just steps in and say, yeah guys, let's just calm down, because he has more experience basically. And I thought he grew a lot in terms of maturity and stuff, but I think like he doesn't want to take too much space maybe in this team right now, maybe because he's the new guy as well.
yeah.
But that's the feeling I have, that he's not that much invested into review, he's not that much invested into setting the debates and setting the tone and stuff. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed by that, I guess. But at the same time, again, as Davide said, I think it's not normal that after a full year of playing together, you still have those kind of crash outs,
Like
It's a bit of a weird one.
I think having crash outs is fine itself. I think it's the way, it's this way of crash out that shouldn't happen, because it really can get like mess up with players' mindsets, and also you start not like losing trust, but you start questioning. And
Yeah.
like I'm actually the player I'm most concerned about is actually Crownie. Like I know he has been dealing with a lot of, I guess, social pressure from that series. The series that decided LR's chances on playoffs.
But he
But
wasn't
also at
playing
the
in
same
that.
time,
When KC lost, he wasn't playing. Go on.
Maybe he was
but
feeling the swings or whatever.
I think Crownie over the years has been always dealing with like some level of toxicity that's not doing well to his mental. So like I really wish that he could, I don't know, find someone to talk to, because based on the reaction that he said, I think it's not a good sign. Like I'm genuinely concerned about the guy, and I really care about like regardless of how good you are. I think having that kind of how do you say, a reaction can really like I think player, like you're bound to make mistakes, you're bound to like mess up, but it's like these things will stay in people's mind and people will start forming more and more, say, like
Opinions.
a crystallized opinion and view of you, and it becomes harder and harder to change over time. Like
Yeah, I agree.
Whippo had that last year. Like most people still remember him from what he said last year.
Yeah.
But I believe in people that I believe in players that can change. So I try to not stay too much focused on what happened in the past, but rather what happens in going forward and whether they actually have the conscience to move forward. And I think so. That's kind of like the my takeaway. I don't think actually Velja did anything wrong there. Like I think he probably just, his biggest mistake was expressing his thoughts in a not very not like a not a constructive way, but just like basically kind of misusing terms, which I think is comes down to his lack of kind of the game knowledge, which was I think what Nemesis was saying, mentioned about in that dispute. So definitely that's kind of the thing he has to work on. But at the same time, I feel like him asking questions because he genuinely wants to learn and get better is something that we should appreciate, because it means that the guy cares and he wants to become a better player, and that if he becomes a better player, it should technically make the whole team better. So I think
The small issue the small issue I have with Velja in general, it's like I feel like he's too much of an ego player, and I think it's like for sure his ego is a strong part of like how he interacts and stuff, I guess, with his teammates and stuff. But outside of that, I think it's even appealing in game. You know, like I think you can see his ego in game, like 100%. Like I feel like he's playing with his ego. I don't know if you can recall with what I'm saying, but like for example, he will do dumb mistake just because he's in front of the opposing jungler and he want to probably smash him, or he wants to because he just got a camp taken away. He will do a random invade and try to take it back, you know, and die. Like for example, these are like the kind of thing that Velja is doing a lot. When his opponent is ahead, he won't realize maybe that he's ahead, and he will just like send it on him for no reason, just because it's his opposite jungler. Like I feel it's the kind of mistakes I'm seeing too much out of him. Um, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not about ego; it's just about game knowledge and stuff. But I feel like ego is a big part of the issue Velja has in game and maybe even outside of the game. So yeah, um, I'm not sure. I think there was an argument, for example, yesterday when I watched their scrims, where Velja was arguing that like in game in the middle of the scrims, he go in 1v4, he go into the enemy jungler that is like 2k gold ahead, while his team is like around him but not like close to him, and he says, "Yo, this guy can just 1v4 us, in game after dying because he just went in alone." And like in review, it was a big topic because he was still arguing that for him it's not normal, and but everyone was disagreeing. And like for me, you have to put the ego aside at some point, and not making those ego plays first, and then just not arguing when your entire team think you did the wrong play.
I think one thing in Caedrel's reaction that he said about both players was just like the way that both of them will do the feedback afterwards is like, or the way they'll argue or they'll debate is like what they both are looking for be the closure of a debate is the acceptance that they are right and the other argument was wrong, and like neither one will give up until it gets to that point, and they're never going to get to that point. So that's where it's like a bit of both. I think one point as well people are not really mentioning is just the fact that they're also streaming, and like what they're doing in that moment is also they're meant to be entertaining the viewers. So I don't know how much of that like not even consciously comes into it. Like you come
probably
on,
they
like,
wouldn't do 8 hours of review. probably they wouldn't do 8 hours of review if it wasn't for viewing
Maybe
experience.
not that
but
much.
at the same time, like I think the crash out was completely real. Like there was no fake at any
No,
point.
no, no. I'm not saying fake, but
just
yeah,
just
you still got that.
push it a bit maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I don't think so. Like it was so surprising, you know. It came out of nowhere. Like I wouldn't think it was like something he grew in his mind and just pushed it, you know. I think it was like completely natural. But just one thing, I think it's important as a competitor to have ego, but discipline is even more important, you know. But don't get me wrong, like not having ego is not something you should have as a competitor, I guess. But I think it doesn't have to take away the discipline you have both in game and in reviews and in discussions and stuff.
I say what this does.
Like for example,
is,
I think Reckless might lack a bit of ego in his gameplay right now. But anyway, that's another debate.
I know his KDA always looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's not how supports how ego support.
That's why maybe he's got the wrong idea. He's got the wrong idea of
ask
ego.
Ask Ilisang how he plays.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of the good that's come out of this is that it makes their EU Masters run like more interesting now, because before, like when it got announced, it was cool that they're sticking together and something's happening with this team still, but it was also just like Los Ratones doing the thing that they've done 3 times already, but without the most popular person streaming it, and it was just like maybe a slightly weaker flavor of Los Ratones. But now that maybe the players are arguing a bit and it's getting a bit spicier, might make it a bit more interesting. We'll see. Either way,
they're supposed to be better. They have Bwipo inside the team, you know, right now. Like Baus was kind of the imposter, even though he was like fitting well somehow, you know. He was kind of the imposter in this team. Now they have Bwipo, so it should be like the best team by far, you know. So that's what I expect from them, at least. So yeah. But given how jungle is important right now, that's maybe where they might like something. But yeah.
Well, let's wrap it there, because I'm way over time. And we've gone probably our longest episode ever, as we do so
again.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep breaking records.
Yeah. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed watching, everybody. We'll probably see you after first down, I guess. I mean, there's no break in the game, so can't even really do an episode next week. So we might have a week off from recording next week, and we'll check in and see how our predictions did and how wrong we were, and I'll laugh in your faces when G2 get to the playoffs, and I'll bask in the glory.
And actually, we're gonna have to discuss about LEC like straight away, because it will be the next week, like the week after. So
exactly. So we'll catch you then. Thanks for listening, and yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.